All right, so we're gonna have a sit down, nice, relaxing conversation with Garret about what his life is like living out in the sticks and kind of being off the radar and off grid. And
oh yeah, I tried.
That's classic off grid.
I skated over that chair and I didn't do a very good job of it.
You know what? It's a couple.
Yeah, exactly.
And so you were in LA up until about 6 months ago, and of course, LA's kind of the beast for all of it. And then, what prompted you to leave, and how's it been since?
Yeah, so I was in LA for 6 years, and then I bought a house there and lived in that house for 3 years. And I've been with my girlfriend for coming up on 8 years now, and she's never liked LA. And, you know, she moved there because I was there, and then she got into real estate, trying to make the most of living in LA. You know, LA is a great place to sell real estate because it's overpriced, which is great for an agent. And we sort of had this, like, once I bought the house in LA, we had this 5-year plan. And we wanted to just sort of, like, put our heads down, grind for 5 years, you know, make as much money as we can, try to set ourselves up for our, you know, the best future that we can. And then we both knew that we wanted to end up north in NorCal long term. Like that's where we want to settle down, have kids, you know, that part of our lives. We didn't know if that meant, you know, Sacramento or all the way up to Tahoe or Santa Cruz. Like we just knew that Northern California is where we wanted to end up. I'm from Santa Cruz, which is NorCal, and then she has family in Roseville, also NorCal. So we knew somewhere in that direction. Neither of us have anyone in Southern California.
Where were you in, and also I'm sure everybody already, you can watch all his videos and see his whole process of that. I'm sure that's all public. But you were in, like West Hollywood?
I was in Glendale. So
you were in Glendale.
I bought my house in Glendale, but before that I lived, first place I ever moved to in LA was Boyle Heights, East LA.
Yeah.
From there, and that was when I was like, that was like the peak YouTuber. Yeah, so Boyle Heights first, and then downtown LA. I'd never lived in like a downtown city, like you know, like downtown.
Yeah.
So I wanted to see what that was like. So I got an apartment in the heart of downtown LA for a year, which was cool, but enough for me to realize like, okay, I don't need to do that anymore.
Yeah.
It's just a lot. After that was North Hollywood for a year. North Hollywood was a cool spot, and then after that was buying in Glendale.
Nice.
And now we're here.
Yeah, and you said that you did look in, like, so did you you started getting into off-grid kind of things? Like you started, like you took a 180 from, because you did YouTube and you were just, would you say you kind of got burnt out? Yeah, I mean, doing it since 2012, I've been burnt out 8 different times, you know, and each burnout was kind of a different burnout. I think the first burnout that came was like an overwork burnout, where it's like I still liked creating. I just like all the editing. I never had I have had an editor before, but only for a couple months. I do all my own editing for the most part. To have another editor.
Yeah, it's just like I always end up wishing I just did it. You know, even if they're better than me, more skilled. I always just like I want to be in control of the videos.
Makes sense.
But yeah, I mean, you get like just straight work burnout from overworking yourself, which is one thing. You get creative burnout where you just run out of ideas. You feel like you're repeating yourself. And the most recent one that was like the icing on the cake for me was just like mental burnout, where like, I don't know, negative comments of just like, and there's like, I understand that there's always going to be hate comments. There's just hateful, shitty people in the world. And like, realistically, it shouldn't affect me because they're just internet trolls, whatever. But I don't know, like, for doing YouTube for 12 years, like 12 years of just like people saying shitty things, and like there's a ton of positivity, don't get me wrong.
Oh, of course.
But it's a lot easier to kind of hyper fixate on negativity when it's directed towards you, your loved one, your family.
Of course. It kind of beats you down
for
a while.
At a point I was just like,
especially if your mental health isn't in check,
right,
it'll take you down more, right?
I think that's what it was for me. It's like, call me a pussy or whatever, but like I'm not able to just, like, some people can just put a wall up and be like, that doesn't affect me at all. You know, and I thought I could for a while. I would always say like, oh, don't care about what people think. A lot easier said than done, for me at least.
Yeah, no, I can relate to that too.
So
I think most people out there can relate that the negativity can get to you, especially when you're making a job like you were doing.
And yeah, I mean, I think to a point, like, negative comments just got to me, and then I think it's just a ton of stress for me, I would constantly like check my analytics, and I just talked about this on a video recently. You know how YouTube will like rank the performance of your last video 1 through 10?
Yeah.
I hate that.
Yeah.
And I understand it. Like if you are treating YouTube like a business, but you should if you're trying to grow your business, those are important metrics to know. But to me, it's just like, it's kind of like stepping on a scale every day, where like some days you're just setting yourself up for disappointment.
Right.
So it's like I'd find myself, like I'd post a video that I worked hard on and I was proud of it, 10 out of 10, which is bad for those that like it means it's performed like 10th out of your last 10 videos. And I'd see that and just be like, it would just like ruin my mood for the day, which is super unhealthy. It shouldn't play that big of a role on me.
Right, and that's actually something in my experience that I've seen with a lot of YouTubers is they allow, and people on Instagram, people are on social media, is they let it kind of control their mood.
Totally.
And that's why I think it's important to have this balance. This is why I live off grid, and you know, I call myself off grid skater, but it's really truly because to me, I like to have the best of both worlds, or at least I find a balance in the best of both worlds where I can be completely in it when I want to be, but then be able to retreat from it. And I think that's probably what you're starting to experience now, right? Is a better mind state because you're in this beautiful nature and you can get out of that headspace if you're, you know.
Talking about kind of we were talking about earlier, where moving was the catalyst for all these other changes. I mentioned like, you know, taking a break from alcohol, quitting nicotine completely, cutting out soda.
Congrats, man.
Thank you. Yeah, it was fucking almost 10 years of being addicted to nicotine.
Those poisons, yeah.
Yeah, and
15 for me.
Yeah,
and I've been off it.
Nice, good shit. I cut that out, and like alcohol, I think like I'm gonna go back to casually drinking. Nicotine, I'm done with forever. Like
gotcha.
that I dropped. But cutting out soda completely, cutting out candy completely. So it's like my mental health is exponentially better, and I can't attribute it just to the move. But like the move is what also snowballed these other bad habits getting out of my life.
Setting boundaries for yourself, I think.
Exactly,
right?
And it's just like I think breaking the routine originally of like turning my life upside down makes it sound negative, but like completely flipping my life around, moving, that I was able to like I was so far out of routine. Because like nicotine addiction's mainly routine-based addiction. You fixation, you know, oral fixation.
Oh, yeah. I know all about that.
Yeah. And I think like stirring up my whole world made quitting those things a lot easier. And like all of those things hand in hand, like all these little things, new habits coming in, old habits going out, like that I think has helped my mental health a lot. And then content-wise, I don't know how many, if anyone has watches my current content, it is completely different from what it used to be.
Let's talk about that real quick.
Yeah, so
it's not about views. I mean, you try to let that roll off. You try to make what makes you happy, right?
Yeah, and like I've gone through, this is still something I'm working on, which literally as of like last week, the video I posted today at the time of filming this actually was my official like, sorry for swearing, but like my official fuck it moment, where up until this point, I can say I don't care about views, I'm just gonna film whatever I want all day long, and I want to mean it, but I think subconsciously I still don't, because I still will get affected by like, oh, that video did 10 out of 10, like oh, you know, like those numbers. And my content lately has been, you know, there's no music, it's very like low production value, because before, if I wasn't skating that day, I'm not filming a video. And now, like, my past 4 videos were, like, working on the cold plunge. Had nothing to do with skateboarding. And, of course, the views are a tenth of what they used to be.
Yeah, I actually love that about watching your channel. So I didn't watch your channel, like, growing up religiously. I was kind of, because I was off of all that stuff. But I would definitely see you pop up here and there. And then I did a little, you know, research before hanging out with you and reaching out to you. And I noticed, like, you're kind of, like, you're creating projects for yourself. Mm-hmm. That's really cool, and it seems like that's like, was that something you've always done, or? So
more or less, and it's funny, my parents and I were actually talking about this very recently. I think it's like, how do I word it? It made me realize what I'm interested in. And so my grandpa was an aerospace engineer. He was he had a little workshop at his house, and at a very young age, like, you know, 10, 11, 12, he would teach me how to solder and like make little trinkety things and like be very hands-on. And to me, that was just sort of like a core childhood memory that I didn't like put 2 and 2 together. Yeah. But then even living in LA, I started getting into welding and like making fingerboard rails. Oh, yeah. And then I've always liked building building PCs. I've always been into computers and PCs, and like I love that aspect of it. And then finally moving here and having a workshop, which we'll show you in a little bit.
Oh wow, that's part of.
That's the whole skate park.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Okay, we got to get there.
Yeah,
too,
so we'll go there as well. But like having access to this space, because in LA, like I'd get my neighbors yelling at me for grinding metal at 8 a.m, which is valid. But here, like having the opportunity to like explore that has just like snowballed into like, holy shit, I love this. Like I love making things and tinkering with things. And like that's where this has been like heaven, because
Cool.
like I did all the irrigation up here.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
Wow.
And like I did like 4 videos they're like 45 minutes of me trying to dig up fucking PVC pipe and see what the previous owner had done, and like I loved it, and surprisingly like my viewers enjoyed it too. So it's like I did all the irrigation. It's been it's an older house, so a lot of it is
just projects.
Yeah, and like that's what I love about it.
Okay. Do you have any advice for maybe the viewers, but also people who want to get into YouTube?
Oh man. It's tough because like I don't think that
because real quick, just not to cut you off, but I'm actually a new YouTuber, so
yeah, true.
You're giving me advice right now too.
It's hard because it depends on what your goal is. And I don't mean this negatively or greedily or selfishly at all, but some people are some people don't care about balancing the mental health and financial gain. Because doing YouTube for yourself and doing YouTube for strictly for money, which there's nothing wrong with that, those are two different processes. You know what I mean? And in my opinion, a balance is the best way to do it, which sounds like that's the route that you should go as well. Like you need to make money to survive and live how you want to, but you don't need to like optimize it to where your mental health is struggling, Yeah,
I think, that's a really, really solid point, is because I feel that too, like even as I'm like, man, I gotta edit, it's driving me crazy. But then there's just a certain point where you just gotta let go. Mm-hmm. And I think that's like how life is in general. Sometimes you just have to let go and just let it be what it is. Is that kind of what you're saying? Yeah,
I mean, like, I would say there isn't a path to follow because everyone's goals are different. I will say it's like I probably couldn't succeed on YouTube if I started now. I think it's crazy oversaturated. You're in a really unique, like you kind of need to be unique or different or offer something different to succeed in my head. And like you do.
Appreciate
you check all those boxes.
Kind of niche. I'm like a couple different niches.
Because like anyone can just be a skate YouTuber and just vlog skating parks in LA, which is what everyone's doing, which is cool. I'm not like throwing shade or anything.
Dan Corrigan.
Yeah, no. But and like they kill it, and like they're as far as I know,
we love you, Dan Corrigan.
Like they're happy, Yeah. But I wasn't, therefore I can't do that.
Yeah. Same here, and that's why I never did it either.
Right.
And that's why I'm all about like kind of highlighting people who are skateboarders who are also outside of that norm, because I think it's important, to show that aspect of life and of skateboarding and of, I guess at one point they called it like, there was a whole movement in the 60s called the Back to the Earthers or Back to the Landers. And that's basically what the hippies were. And those were people who rebelled against the normal constraints, and then they bought pieces of land and they homesteaded. And
gotcha.
I was always inspired by that, and I think that's like, kind of where it's a sort of a renaissance right now too. There's a lot of YouTubers I think that have that balance, too.
Totally.
Do you know Sean Gatz, just out of curiosity?
Yes, dude. He's actually like I follow I just went through a social media cleanse where I unfollowed a lot of people that how do I word this without sounding like a dick? I'm trying to follow people that sort of benefit my mental health more, and like being stuck in the whole YouTube skate world, I just wasn't interested in that content as much.
Yeah, that's fair.
Sean Gatz is like one of the people that I recently followed because I really enjoy his content.
Did you see Will Survives?
He as of now, Will Survives, one of my favorite creators. Him and Nate Petrosky.
Yeah.
They're great creators. They actually have helped a lot. No, I don't know him personally, but their content helped me a lot with like saying fuck it to the whole high production value, a lot of editing. Like their shit's just like super raw, a lot of uncutness, and like I
really
love
cool.
that.
It's really cool what they do.
Like I can watch it and like relax as opposed to watching it and being all tense and like I don't know.
That's interesting. Any other topics you want to touch on?
Kind of up to you. I'm an open book. I'll answer anything. I could talk about mental health and how toxic LA is for all day.
Let's see. So where do you see the future of YouTube going? And
like YouTube or my YouTube? Because
let's say both. Start with your YouTube.
So my YouTube, I have a goal, which is, and again, it's funny we're talking about this today because my video that posted today talks about literally this.
This is actually going to come out later. So what's today's date?
The 6th, October 6th.
October 6th. You'll probably see this in like a month or two from now.
Yeah, whenever you get around to editing it. So my goal is to post what I want to post with no stress on performance, which, full transparency, I've said that's what I've been doing for probably months now. And I think I mean it. And then I slowly get more and more detached and look back and be like, oh wait, I did still care about views back then, you know? And I want to be able to just like post anything, whether it's me pruning those plants that I planted a month ago. That's my YouTube video. And have that be the video. And not feel any obligation to be like, you know what, I didn't skate at all. Like I gotta throw some skating in there. Like I really want to post what, like Nate Petrosky's a perfect example.
So you're serving, and that's what's cool about homesteading, off-grid lifestyle, and is that you're posting things that are actually can help people.
Right.
Like I'm sure you have a huge following of kids that have grown up with you, and now they're probably at the same point in their life.
That's been one of the coolest things that I've seen in my comments now is I've been doing I call it my new content style, where it's just anything. Like it's not what it used to be. It's not skate vlogs. It's just vlogs, and if I skate, I skate. But I'm seeing like tons of like I feel like I've filtered all the people that aren't interested out. Because it's been months now where it's like people know that I'm not just doing skate vlogs in LA now, and they either like that or they don't.
They went over to Dan Carter's
no, and I've seen this crazy influx of comments of people saying like, yo, I used to watch you when I was 15. I stopped watching, you know, because they are adults now. And then now they're 23. And they're looking at buying their first home. They're looking at doing this DIY work, and they've like, it sounds kind of corny, but like fallen in love with my channel again for a completely different reason. Where it's like they don't watch the skateboarding at all now. They want to learn how to do some DIY flooring in their garage. They want to learn how to do drywall. Like, but like I don't know what I'm doing, but like I'll I've documented me trying. Like
nice.
So it's like I'm not a professional at anything.
That's so cool.
But I'll fuck around and like maybe do a half-ass job of it.
One day you will be really good at what you're doing, and I think that's. So I think that the balance comes from you're helping people out, but then you're also helping yourself out because you're having fun doing it.
Right, and I cut myself off there. That's my end goal, is to be able to do, I don't know why I use pruning those shrubs as an example, but like I want to be able to post, like that's how abstract I want the content to be. Anything I want, but the catch or caveat there is I do still need, like my cost of living is lower here, but I still do need to make money.
That's what I was gonna get. Yeah. That's what I was gonna get at. Is like you obviously still need to make a fairly substantial.
Yeah.
Income.
So the goal is to like I no longer need to have this desire to make hundreds of thousands, millions of dollars. Not at all. But my goal is to be able to post the content that I want and still sustain myself.
Yeah.
Which I'm still so new in this rebrand transition that I don't know if that'll work yet. But we'll see.
Last thing, and then we'll take a tour is. Where do you see the future of skateboarding YouTube, I guess, or YouTube in general, whichever is easier to answer?
I think YouTube in general is easier, and this could be completely wrong, but I feel pretty strongly about it. I think the era of high production value, I use Mr. Beast as an example, but I don't think Mr. Beast is going anywhere, but like Mr. Beast type of content, where it's...
Yeah, everyone knows the Mr. Beast type of content.
Like it's fully dialed to a T of retention. It's like a TV show. Like it's a very highly produced TV show, which is so sick. But I think that era of YouTube is fizzling out. Not that it'll ever go away. Like Mr. Beast will always have a successful channel, and those high production videos will. But I think there's a new love forming for authenticity again. Yeah. And I feel like authenticity sort of... Vlogs started out being authentic. And then everyone went this high production value route, hiring filmers, hiring editors, making it very TV oriented. And I think it's going back to square one, where authentic, raw vlogs.
Oh, you got your geese flying north.
Yeah, I guess, huh? We get some cool animals out here. We get
Sorry, that was cool.
We get a lot of deer. I saw my first bear not too long ago. Well, not my first bear ever. My first bear here.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Brown bear? Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
I see him all the time in Tahoe, but this is my first time seeing him here. And then I saw some crazy. I want to see if you can guess what these tracks are. My first thought was brown bear. I guess I still do think brown bear, but they're also kind of mountain lion-y.
I agree with you about the authenticity. That's brown bear.
That's brown bear?
Yeah, for
I
sure.
thought bear paws were a little rounder. Like, they seem long.
It's a stride. It looks like it's dragging a
Okay.
little bit. Definitely not
Mountain lion?
Mountain lion.
I also heard mountain lion don't like have their claws out when they walk.
Yeah.
So you'd see more like paw prints, not claw prints.
Exactly.
Okay.
100%.
But yeah, the geese distracted us.
Hey,
Yeah,
that's good though.
I think authenticity is making a comeback, which is also like I was into live streaming, like IRL live streaming for a minute.
Oh yeah.
And that was my that's I think the appeal of live streaming too is you can't really bullshit a live stream. You can't edit anything out. Like whoever you are on that live stream is probably you in real life.
I've noticed what is the whole story with live streaming? I've noticed most of these YouTubers now are like doing like 8-hour, 24-hour, 1 week.
I mean that kind of goes.
Are they getting paid pretty good for that, you think?
It depends. So no is my best guess. Like the real money from live streaming is if you're in a contract. So like a lot of companies, whether it's Kick or like I signed with Facebook Gaming for a year, or like Twitch will sign people. Usually it depends on your numbers, obviously, but like they'll give you a salary of $50,000 a year for 40 hours a month of streaming, or it can get much more full time than that, obviously.
Oh, okay.
So like you have if you're a big creator that is doing these 8-hour streams every day, a lot of these big creators are in $5 million contracts with Twitch that it requires them to stream 8 hours a day, which is like crazy.
That is crazy.
But
that's got to be taxing on the mental health. It's cool. Like the idea of $5 million contracts sounds cool.
Right.
But then when the reality of you have to live stream yourself for 8 hours every day.
It's a lot.
Cool, man. Sorry not to cut you off, but I think we should do the tour now.
Okay.
Thank you for watching, and I hope you enjoyed this interview. If you'd like to watch more videos like this, just check out my channel. You can subscribe, you can become a member, and stay tuned because we'll have lots more content like this. Take care.